All right, guys, I'm going to go over to the other, to my other camera. As you can see, how are we going to survive this day? As you can see, guys, right here, it's like, well, chef, how are you going to get both these dishes done at the same time? Simple. My mise en place is right here. I got my butter, got my shallots, got my onions for my sauce, got my crushed garlic, got my ginger, got my potatoes, got my carrots and fennel for my soup. My chicken stock is on the stove. And over here, I'm going to show you guys this out of the camera angle. I got my pork chops and my pork mignon already done. And guys, here's one cool thing. The ice machine is working, so now my pork mignon and my pork chops are on an ice bath, and they're staying cold, laying up against that cold stainless steel pan, so they're safe, they're not in the danger zone. So, first dish. Let's get this party started, guys. Got my brand new knife, birthday present from my parents. My CCK little rhino. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this down this way. Cut it this way. Cut it this way. I want enough for 2 plates. I even got my plates set over here ready to go. My plates in my bowl. Here's what I'm going to do. And here, guys, I don't have some big jug of oil. I got my oil in my squeeze bottle ready to go. I'm going to drizzle all that with oil right there. I'm going to hit it with a pinch of salt. And just for some of my students in here, I'm going to hit it with a dash of cayenne pepper. Let's put a little heat in this dish. Now, I'm not making any jokes. I'm not trying to roast anybody. I just think cayenne pepper is a very good idea. Because we got the spiciness in the sauce and the mustard, cayenne pepper. Let's give this dish a little heat. Right. Potatoes, done. 400-degree oven. Set the timer for 30 minutes. High fan. That's going to cook. All right, guys. On to the next dish. Guess what? We're going to switch camera angles now. Now we're over here, guys. We're at the cook angle. Let's get this soup going, shall we? First off, oil. We have chicken stock here in the back ready to go. Everything's prepped and ready to go before I even turned on the stove. That's the way it should be. Let's get this nice and hot. What am I going to do? I'm going to start by throwing some shallots in there. Shallots are like onions. They're in the onion family. They're a little bit sweeter, but they're not as harsh. So I'm going to throw some shallots in there. I'm going to throw some garlic in there. Everybody's like, Chef, you got those things in whole chunks of garlic. Well, you know what? I'm going to blend it later. So it's going to be fine. We're going to throw some pieces of ginger in there and start getting them sweated off. Right here in my drumstick bag, I got my mise en place. I got my spatulas. Got all my tools ready to go. So I'm going to start sweating these. What does it mean to sweat? It means you want to release the water foam, that you want your garlic and your shallots to be translucent or clear. Vegetable will sweat like humans do. What do we do when we sweat? We get hot, we let off water, and we start to smell. So, again, I'm going to bring a little spice. I'm going to hit this with some sambal. And then usually you finish a soup like this with heavy cream. I've decided not to do that. I'm going to finish it with some coconut cream instead, just to give it a different flavor. So I'm going to turn the heat up on this. So I let this sweat out a little bit. And I really want to cook up. Oh, I don't want that in there. It's paper. Thank you for coming. We're going to let this sweat out a little bit. Now I'm going to add the carrots and a very interesting vegetable. This right here, guys, this is fennel. Fennel is delicious when it's raw. It actually tastes like licorice. It's really good. So I'm going to add some carrot and some fennel to this. We're just going to let it cook out. Those carrots were a donation for Miss Regina. You guys probably have noticed, well, Chef, how come you're not cooking the pork chops right now? Because we don't need to. I want everything to come up at the same time. It's all about timing, guys. The potatoes and the carrots are going to take the longest to cook. So we need to do those first. Any questions so far? Anything in the chat? I guess not. Everybody's watching. So I got this thing far away now that it's not going to shut down if it gets too hot. We're going to get that on there. And somebody's like, well, Chef, you got to time those carrots right. No, I don't. If they're overcooked, so what? I'm going to blend them anyway. I'm going to take my chicken stock here. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to set it over on this burner. I'm going to set it and forget it for a while. Soup done. All right. Now we're going to get this pan nice and hot. Got our potatoes working. You're probably asking me, Chef, why are you using cast iron? Because cast iron it holds its heat really, really well. And it just it gives things a nice sear. It really does. So I'm going to season my pork chops. I'm actually going to just put black pepper on the pork mignon because the bacon's already salty. I don't want it to be too salty. And I'm just going to put salt and pepper on these because all the flavor is actually going to come from the sauce. So yesterday, guys, I didn't get the ingredients for it, but yesterday I did 3 dishes in one class period. 3-course meal, 45 minutes. We did I also did a caramelized peach ice cream. It turned out really, really good, actually. So that's heating up. I'm going to grab my tongs. You guys with me so far? Nothing here that's too challenging, right?
Yep.
This is simple food, guys. This was Culinary School 101 when I was in class. But it just shows that organization, having your mise en place, You have to be able to cook multiple dishes at the same time and get everything ready, have it up on the same time and ready to go. Ramon, you made a comment?
No, I'm just saying that I understood.
What's that?
I was just saying that it seems pretty easy.
Yeah, it's not challenging, guys. It's not challenging at all. Now, everybody remember what the two S's are? Season and sear. We're going to sear these pork chops and get them nice and golden brown. One thing I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to sear the pork mignon on its side where the bacon wraps around, because it'll actually cause those proteins to glue together, and it'll hold the bacon together on the pork. So I'm going to grab a pork chop. Grab this one right here. Add a little salt and pepper on the top. Nice and seared. So I'm doing 2 pieces of pork mignon per serving. So as you can see, there's the seam where the bacon is. I'm going to do that seam side down. Like that. It's going to seal the bacon on there. And plus, we're going to sear it on all 4 sides anyway. So while that's sitting there, as you notice, guys, I'm not messing with it. I'm leaving it alone. I'm letting it cook. And that thing, I'm just going to let it come up to a boil. I'm going to let those carrots and that fennel all overcook, and then I'm going to blend it, and then I'm going to finish it with the coconut cream. We're going to have a beautiful soup. So I'm going to let that sit there for a few minutes. While that's sitting there, I'm actually going to wash my hands. All right, guys, so I got this right here. I'm actually going to turn this up on its side. I want to sear that fat on there. I'm going to turn this on the... Oh, whoa, that didn't work. That going on the side for now. Put that right over the direction. Turn it up a little bit. And if you really think about it, guys, it's pork being cooked in bacon fat. How can you go wrong? Right, so I'm going to turn this on its side. And I can move it around really easily. You want to know why? Because the pan I started with, it was hot. You guys, as you can see that fat right there, it's getting nice and crispy and brown. Remember what that's called? The Maillard reaction.
Yes, I want.
Sugars and amino acids moving
Yes,
into
I
different
can.
places and causing the sugars to caramelize.
Yes, my cookie.
What's that?
Oh, I was talking to my sister. I forgot I had the mic on.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to turn this on this side right now. Get a little smoky here. What we like. One of these pork mignon is not cooperating. We're gonna, should have gotten some soup in. Right, so now we got it searing on both sides. We got the soup going right here. Potatoes are going to be done by the time these are done in the oven. It's just all going to work, guys. And then we're going to take this, we're going to strain the fat off, then we're going to build our pan sauce with that. Yeah. I want some more color on that other side. I'll turn this heat down over here. We'll let these flavors meld together. And let that sear nice. Get nice sear on that. Okay, guys, so as you can see, our pork chop is nicely seared, beautiful, golden brown and delicious. Our pork mignon has a nice sear on it, right there. Beautiful bacon wrapped pork tenderloin. This is pork on pork. How can you go wrong with this? This is beautiful. I'm going to shut the heat off because I want that cast iron pan to cool down a little bit. Right, into the oven. Got about 15 minutes on that. That pork chop will be done in about 10. Give it 5 minutes to rest. And then we're going to give it 5 minutes to rest so we can actually, the juices can flow back throughout the meat. And we can end up with a really great dish. So I don't want all that fat in the pork mignon. So I'm going to take that fat out of there. Just going to let that cool down a little bit. As you guys can see, there's little bits in the bottom of it. That's the fond or the foundation. That's what's going to give this dish its really, really great flavor. So here's what I'm going to do. Just with the carryover heat alone, I'm going to start out with a little bit of onion. Just to get it going. Everybody's like, well, chef, you got a lot of big pieces in there. You know what? That's fine. This may have been served at Kings and Queens, but you know what? It's still, this sauce is hardly ever served anymore. So you know what? I like to keep it rustic. I like to modify and do my own spin on it. Maybe it's not considered a classical French dish. Maybe it's not a classical French version. Maybe this is a new American version, which is my style of cooking. New American cuisine. Right, onions are there. They're nice and brown. That's hot. I'm going to grab my ladle here. Big ladle of beef stock. I'm going to pour it in there. What is that called, guys? It's called deglazing. We're deglazing the pan. Right? Carrots are cooking nicely. I'm actually going to add a little more chicken stock to that. So what's going to happen is we're going to let this reduce down. I'm going to turn the heat back on. We're going to let this reduce, and then I'm going to whisk a little bit of mustard in there. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry, guys, I had to go grab Nora, my blender. Morning, Chef. Why'd you name her Nora? I named her after my wife, of course. All right, those carrots are almost done. Crank up the heat a little bit. And let's check on our potatoes, guys. We are just about there. I'm going to crank this up and let it boil down. I want it to reduce. I did this yesterday. I put too much. I used the stock a little bit salty, so there's no salt in this beef stock. It's actually a very light beef stock. I'm actually letting it reduce down so it concentrates the flavor. A lot of this stuff, guys, is hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. While this is reducing, I'm going to bring my mustard over. This is spicy brown mustard. We're going to use this, and we're going to really make it give a little bit of pop. Because of this, there is salt in this mustard. There's heat in there. I'm probably not going to add any salt or pepper at all to this sauce because it's going to have a lot of flavor in it, and the saltiness is going to come from the mustard. And yeah, it's going to be good. Also, there's saltiness from the stock as well. Guys, any questions so far? You guys can see what's going on. It's all good stuff. You having fun at least? I am. This is the most fun I've had all week. In fact, you know what? Yesterday's second and third period kept asking me, Chef, can we do this every week? And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, we want to cook with you, Chef. And it's like, I mean, you want me to send you a list of ingredients, like for some simple recipes? They're like, yeah. I was like, okay. Maybe that's something you guys would be interested in. Just on Thursday and Friday, we have our cook days here at the stove, and you guys can cook along. I think that would personally be a great idea, and the people who, I know about how some people really can't afford ingredients, but I'm going to keep them really on the down low and really use some really inexpensive stuff. Today, I just wanted to do pork mignon because it just sounds cool. And it's pork wrapped in bacon, guys. Come on. That is almost done reducing. So I got to make enough sauce for 2 plates. This is almost done. It's getting there. Got a few chunky carrots that just need to cook down a little bit. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to check the temperature of my pork mignon and the pork chop. Because we want them to be cooked at the right temperature, correct? Just checked. I'm at I'm at 125. That pork has about another 5 minutes. It was like, but chef, pork has to be cooked to 145 degrees, 155. That's true, but you know what? When we pull that stuff out, I pull it out below temperature because when I pull it out, it's still cooking, guys. It's called carryover cooking. And when it carryover cooks, actually when it's sitting out and it's resting, the internal temperature of that pork will come up another 15 degrees. That's why so many people complain that pork chops are dry. They don't know when to pull it out at the right temperature and allow for the carryover cooking to bring it up to serving temperature. I pull it out so I can get it ready for serving temperature. That's just my way. Okay, so we're pretty reduced here. Guys, so I'm going to show you how we're going to finish this sauce. Okay. I'm going to turn the heat off. Add a little mustard to that. We're going to whisk in some mustard. As you can see, guys, the mustard is already starting to thicken up the sauce a little bit. So I'm actually going to reduce this. It looks a little too thin for me. I'm actually going to turn the heat on. I'm actually going to reduce this a little bit more. So that's what it looks like. That's sauce rubber. So I'm just going to let that get hot a little bit and just kind of reduce down a little bit more. I just didn't like the consistency of it quite yet. This is almost done. Right. Let's turn it up a little bit. And we're still good on screen time. Awesome. We'll have this stuff plated up in 15 minutes. All right, guys, so I'm actually going to cut the heat off of that. I'm going to let it sit there. Let's slide it right off the direct heat over there. Here's what I'm going to do. I had just put some new gloves on because I'm going to be handling the butter with my hands. Remember, we're following COVID regulations right now. So I'm going to pull this butter out. I'm going to take a little bit of butter. Actually, I'm going to take a lot of butter. I'm just going to set it in there. And I'm going to let it melt into that sauce and thicken it up. Right? I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to let that butter melt into that sauce. It's getting nice and thick. It's going to get a nice shine on it. It's going to be awesome. Just saying. So I'm actually going to take this completely off the heat. I'm going to set it over here. Maybe whisk a little more mustard in there. And let it do its thing. Okay, guys, so these carrots are done. I'm actually going to blend this soup right now. I'm going to show you guys how we do that. I'm going to turn the heat off on this. I'll plug it in my plug in my blender here. So this, guys, is a full immersion blender. Let's slide my soup over here. Get this thing on to high. I'm going to blend all these ingredients together. Now, some people tell me yesterday, Chef, this looks like baby food. It kind of does. Get over it. And my timer just went off for the pork. It's done. And then, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this soup with some coconut cream. I'm going to stir this around. Add a little extra salt. A little extra pinch of black pepper. Now it is time to plate. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to switch the mic off in here.
Shift Tom, we cannot hear you. Your mic is mute. We cannot hear you.
All right, guys. As you can see, I've plated. I didn't realize I was muted. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
As you can see, I got two different platings. I'm going to put a garnish on both of them. Hit this with some chopped parsley. And as you can see, those plates are good enough. Gonna do a little wipe down right there. Gonna do a little wipe down around here. Two different variations. Pork mignon with sauce Robert. And just a basic pork chop with sauce Robert. So I'm going to set these over here. And then I'm going to show you guys how to plate up that soup. Soup right here. Bowl. Ladle. We use carrots, fennel, ginger, garlic, shallots, and then finish with a little bit of coconut cream. And my place over here is a mess. Just fine. I'm going to wipe around the plate a little bit. I'm going to garnish with a little bit of chopped parsley. Wipe around the rim. And then what I like to do, guys, is I like to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on the very end. A little light drizzle, gives a little bit of shine. The olive oil starts to bead. And it just lifts the whole thing up like that. So, carrot, fennel, ginger soup with coconut cream. And then you guys saw the pork mignon with sauce Robert and the regular pork chop with sauce Robert. 3 different dishes done in about 55 minutes. So, there you go. I'm going to switch this off over here. I'm going to mute it and turn down the mic, turn down the volume.